Good morning, everyone, and welcome to In the Office with Joseph Skoda the third in the house. That's me right here. Well, it's been a very interesting year I've had, very interesting seasons, and a lot of us go through different seasons throughout our journey in our lives. And today I just want to talk about a little bit about seasons. Many of you know I was in the military for 21 years in the Air Force. Great career, for the most part. And most people who did the military wish they stayed a little bit longer, get a little more retirement or develop their skill set just a little bit better. But I was fortunate. Even though got out a little bit quicker than I wanted to, it was my season to get out, guess you could say. Sometimes we stay in places longer than we should. Sometimes we're in the same relationship or same job way past our welcome time. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I was an aircraft mechanic for the first 4 years of my military career. And that happened to be in the Philippines. The Philippines is where I started that journey. And after 4 or 5 years, quite frankly, I got tired of getting greasy, uh, petroleum, hydraulic fluid, jet fuel all over my uniform and in my suit all the time. It was fun, and the camaraderie between the other jet mechanics was great. And I'm still friends and go to different reunions throughout the world the last 2 years. But anyways, my season to try something else. And I got into radar operator. I didn't know anything about radar operating. And it got me to different worlds, got me into surveillance, it got me into command posts, got me a lot of different places around the world where I experienced something a little different than I was doing as an aircraft mechanic. Win, lose, or draw, it didn't matter. And then over time, because I know if you're in the military, you know there's kind of the blue collar, the white collar workers. We call them enlisted or officers. And I just knew if I was going to do 20 years plus in the military. Now let's go back because every time reenlistment came at 4 or 6 years, depends when I came in, I never wanted to reenlist, especially when I was working on planes because I was used to 10, 12-hour shifts. And I'm thinking, wow, I can get a job on the outside in the civilian world, working overtime. I'm used to it and make big money. So I do that. I started a family young and I just kept re-enlisting because consistency is good. And reliability of a paycheck is kind of a big deal. Anyways, getting back to the enlisted officer time frame, I told myself if I'm going to do 20 years, because that's the minimum amount of time to get a retirement in the military, I was going to be an officer. Now, in the Air Force, to be an officer, you had to have at least a bachelor's degree. So I kept going to school and working on my degrees and so many other things. And anyways, eventually I became an officer and got stationed at Vandenberg Air Force Base and space and missile training. It's funny. I got here and I was denied a few times, but I finally got my commission in a job I didn't know anything about. And when I found out about it, I really wasn't interested. I didn't put my best foot forward in training. I complained a lot. It was horrible. Bad enough where they kicked me out the last week of certification, basically, for what I was doing, and said, well, we just might kick you out of the Air Force. Go on. I have like 16 years of service already in. They're telling me they might kick me out because I wasn't meeting their standards. Well, long story short, I stayed in. A major came to me and said, hey, you want to learn how to be a personnel officer? Sure, why not? Quite frankly, I should have stayed in space and missiles because being in an office all the time and dealing with policies and procedures and legislative, all of those very important details that somebody has to do. That's really my thing. But I got a good rapport with different commanders and had a good career, and I did 21 years. Now, before I joined the Air Force, I was in high school, obviously, and I was a wrestler. I was a good wrestler. I could have been better. And probably my freshman, sophomore year, I was really trying hard and was doing better. But my last 2 years of high school, I went to a vocational school where I studied electronics. and girls. The wrestling wasn't as important to me as it once was. So that season passed. The different careers in the military, that season. And very interesting. I'm not going to go to my whole history about living in a homeless shelter, living on the streets, in different relationships. All those chapters kind of passed in my life, and thankfully those seasons did also. I made some poor decisions. I don't know if any of you can relate to that or not. Few poor decisions in my life, and that's okay because we're supposed to learn from it. What they say, you fall down 8 times, you get up nine, you fall down 100, you get up 101. Whatever it is, we need to keep getting up and keep moving forward. A lot of us live in the past a little bit too long. We have the pity party with the breakup, for instance. I've been there. Thankfully, I have two boys from my first marriage, and those are the only children I have. And I have two granddaughters. And it's wonderful. But a lot of us keep living, woe is me. I remember back when, or if things were different, and it's okay to think about it, but we do have to move on. I don't know if you see on my shirt or not, I have to have a cross. I have a cross. It's red, white, and blue. I'm always patriotic the best I can be. And the point is, we need to keep God at the forefront. We need to ask his guidance, his advice, and probably more importantly, his forgiveness. And thank him for what we do have instead of what we want or what we don't have. But we have a problem with that. And when we're doing something we know is wrong, sometimes we're running away from God. We're running away from the truth. We're running away from other people and hiding because, well, we're ashamed. I understand. That's a part of our journey. Some of us stay in that pity party or shame party for just a little bit too long. Anyways, many of you know I've got a degree in business, and psychology, and aviation, even space operations technology, believe it or not. And those were important parts of my journey of life to kind of figure out what I wanted to be, who I need to be, and where I need to go. Now, though I live in California right now, currently, I'm slowly transitioning to Hawaii, and I lived in Ohio and Maine and Philippines and even Saudi Arabia, believe it or not, and other places. And those were different parts of things I had to experience. You know, where we keep talking about journeys in our season. Well, it's my season to live there. It's my season to learn, my season to experience, my season to develop relationships. And most of our relationships, we don't carry on forever. I probably got two friends from high school that I still keep in contact with a couple times a year, usually through social media, maybe a text, or if I'm coming to town, I'll give them a call. I got a good friend, Ed. He lives in Austintown, Ohio, and I have a bad habit when I'm there. I'll let him know the night before, hey, what you doing tomorrow? Let's lunch or dinner. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, because he has his own family, he has a job, his own career going on. But for me, I always had a hard time making a commitment past a day or two because my schedule changes. I want to visit all kinds of people, do different things. And I've learned how to, over the last few visits back to Ohio, just meet everyone at a restaurant. Everybody comes. It could be five, it could be 10, it could be 15. I'll just pay the tab. It's easier than that than trying to hunt everyone down at their houses. And that works well for me. Now, many of you know I start off in social media shows network 4 or 5 years ago with Maria and Pereza. We had a good relationship. Now I learned different skill sets. I was doing videos long before I met her, but she grew leaps and bounds kind of ahead of me because she's a little bit more consistent. And I was really strong in the beginning. And sometimes we stay in a season too long and we realize we have to move on, what they say, shit or get off the pot. I don't have to explain what that is, but it's actually get the job done or move on and go do something else. Now, a lot of people, especially in network marketing, I'm a network marketer, for instance, we like that follow that next shiny nickel, follow the next biggest thing. And we never quite fully understand, regardless of what our interests are, regardless of what we're trying to promote, we still have to learn to brand ourselves. We still have to learn to make a connection with other people. We still need to learn how to close the deal or move on and get a job. So I'm in GI Connections, social media shows, and a lot of you guys know I'm a Toastmaster and made as a district director, District 33 director in California. And I enjoyed it. It was so much fun. My journey was great. And when I became a past district director, things kind of changed. I still love what I was doing, but the organization had to move on to the new leadership. I'm sure I got the respect, the accolades, the kudos and thank yous, and I loved it and appreciated it all. But that was my season, and that season slowly ended. Actually, it probably ended fast. I tried to milk it as long as I could. And sometimes we have to know when just to move on. Now, right now, I was just interviewed a week ago in Laguna Hills, California, for a pretty big position. Like I keep telling you, I'm in the military and I'm the senior vice commander of California for the Department, I mean, not the, oh boy, Department of California for Disabled American Veterans. Boy, I'm already losing it. For the DAV. And I was just interviewed to be the commander for the state of California. Now, I wanted for a long time, and I moved on, and I learned a lot through the last few years. I've got to meet a lot of people and then network inside and outside of California, and I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying installing new officers at different chapters. I enjoy being a guest speaker in lots of places. I enjoy just hearing people's stories. Now, it's funny because at the very end of the interview, and when you're interviewed for a top level of any position, like for me, I had three people here in the chair, they're all throwing questions at me and trying to watch me sweat. I'm fairly comfortable in small audiences and large and not afraid to speak and usually have self-confidence. They know that, so they want to always throw me a curveball, right? Want to throw me a curveball, really see what I'm made of. And I understand it. But the bottom line is at the end, they kind of, why do you think you're ready for this job? Or why do you think we should hire you? And my answer was quite simple. It's my season. I paid my dues. I've learned. I grew. I have all of you as mentors here. But it's my season to excel and to show you what I'm made of from my own experiences. I don't know if it caught them off guard or they were impressed, but a few hours after the meeting, the chair just kind of gave me the nod. You know the nod. Sometimes you get a nod like this kind of nod. Oh, you messed it up. But I got the nod that I'm going to be recommended to be commander, and I still have to go through the election process. Don't get me wrong. There's always politics involved with any leadership position, but I got the nod that yeah, they're going to go with me, and they like my seasoned answer. The issue is, anytime you take on a bigger leadership position, sometimes you have to let things go, or you can't be as consistent or even all in like you used to be because your focus changed. It's like being from one relationship to another. You can't bring the old relationship into your current one. Usually doesn't work out very well. It usually does. It's not a good thing. So as I've learned and done different things with my life and different business ventures and being involved in one of my biggest passions outside of veterans truly is traveling and vacationing. And please chat with me and find out a little bit more about my vacation club, VIP-vacation-club.com. Or just private message me or send me an email, I'll send you more information. But vacationing is kind of where it's all at. As I told you, I retired a few years ago from the military and had a few jobs for a short time, but most of my time is in my own business and volunteering and serving. But I find the best reward. It's not another big screen TV or the best computer in the world, and you can see my head going in and out. I don't necessarily have the best camera or lighting all the time. And that's okay with me because I'd rather focus on trips, on vacations, on experiences I've never had before. And I've been going back and forth to Hawaii lately and a new marriage. most recently, and things have to change. It's a give and take world. And you need to find a partner that agrees or shares your vision. And it's a lot of compromise. They say marriage is 50-50. No, it's 100-100. You give 100% of yourself, they give 100% of themselves. And we know there's no such thing of giving 100% of yourself. But if you can give 80 and they can give 70, and sometimes they can give 80 and you give 70, and it all works out. There's no 50-50. You don't go half in. And you really have to make a commitment. I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm going to be there no matter what anyone else says. Now, a lot of my seasons, had it involved me wearing a hat, wearing a fedora, usually, and I still like it. I still wear them. And I know sometimes it takes the lighting off of my eyes. I have this shadow on my face that you can see. And I know. And some of the videos I've done in the past, the lighting's not the best. My PR, my pictures aren't always there. Even when I do an interview, have you ever talked and talked for 3, 4 minutes and find out yourself is muted? No one can hear you to begin with. Well, that's happened to me. That was me. Different seasons. And I've learned a lot throughout the lifetime. But one thing I've learned about, let's just say business wise, is you can have the best story in the world, and people are going to buy into it and donate and join your cause as well as they should. But there's always someone who has a better story. For example, I was in Cancun, Mexico, probably 12, 13 years ago at this big business event. It was great. I still have friends from there and still uh, close with the founders of the company I'm involved with. But and everyone, I think the founders, there's three of them. They all pulled money out of their pocket. I think it was like $800. Okay, this is the money we have. Whoever gives us the best story why they should have this money, we're going to give it to them. And people talked about going to do this, going to do that, going to buy that, go on vacation, and everything else. And it was my turn to give my story. And I talked a little bit about how I was forced out of the military early, how I was going through a divorce and lost my money. I was living on the streets. I lived in a homeless shelter for a long time, and I was going to use that money to help others get off the streets and maybe donate to the homeless shelter. And everybody's in there like, wow, that's tears in people's eyes. I saw tears in my own eyes, and they're ready to give me the money. Then they called this other lady. Okay, one more. What do you have to say? Jessica, you may not remember this, but I remember this always. And she's like, well, I made a lot of money in this business. And it's not that hard. But if you give me that money, I'll show you how to do the same that I did, where you even make more than that in a short amount of time. Imagine how the focus switched from my pity party or serving other people or living on the streets to, wow, you're going to help me make money? I want to learn more. Then I can give to all these other charities. Amazing how I still hurt, but I responded to her, and I think the most of her and her husband Ray way up there, and they're making millions. But they taught other people how to make millions, not just give me because you give me that I can help others. It was like, let me show you how to get what you want, so you can help the people you want to. Totally different mindset. Totally different mindset. And that was one of those seasons that I had to learn. That was just a I don't know, a skill set, but a lesson I had learned is what can I give other people to help them accomplish what they need in life. I thought it was Ray Kroc or someone, it could have been Dexter Yeager from Amway, and they just said you help enough people achieve their own goals and dreams, and yours will be realized. The money will come to you. If you help other people, you're going to get what you want too. Instead of focus on me, you focus on how can I help you. The money comes around and everybody's a winner in the long. Now, despite what relationships you had in the past, what schools, what education, what degrees, what jobs, whatever you've tried worked and didn't work, sometimes you just need to move on. No, it's okay to come back. I know a lot of people who left Toastmasters and came back a couple years later. I know people who served in the military and they couldn't find the job they expected when they got out and went back in. I know people who started blogging and stopped blogging and went to videos and like, I was a better blogger. In fact, I was a good blogger once upon a time. I think I might revisit that here in the near future. Whatever God, and you like I said, you need to put God first. Really, you do. God knows what we're thinking. He knows what we're doing. He knows all these things, but He gave us that gift of free will. Free will to make mistakes, free will to do right, free will to do wrong. He's there for us. He just wants us to ask for His help and ask forgiveness and thank Him for what He has given us because every day is full of opportunities. There are 365 days a year of opportunities, except for leap year, 366 days, 24 hours a day. And there are some days, some weeks, some months, we just don't want to do anything. Like, I love talking, I love doing videos, I love interviewing people, but there are times I just don't want to do anything. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. It's okay. It frustrates Maria because this is her bread and butter, and she loves what she does also. She's in front of camera and behind the camera. We're all doing things all around helping each other out. But we have to know when our season's over and it's time to move on. And things can change. Things always change. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But seasons, like I said, the season for us changes. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. I just want to have it all, whatever it is. If you live in some cultures, you got hot and cold, or wet and rainy, or dry, whatever it is. Maybe two seasons. I grew up with four seasons. Right now, it's the season of love. It's, whatever you decide your season is, ask God if you're doing the right thing, and do some soul searching. Go back, reflect. Go back, take some time off. If you have a job, you really can't take too much time off because you're still going to pay the bills. But take some time off and have a conversation with your spouse, your significant other, and say, "Hey, babe, I'm doing this a long time. Um, I don't know. Are we on the right path, or do we need to adjust, switch, make adjustments as time goes on?" And it's very interesting, even with churches. A lot of people say, "I don't like that church. I don't like the music. I don't like that church. I don't like the people." You go to church, the church family, and hopefully you're well welcome. But we're going there to hear the message. We're going there to learn about the life of Jesus and God and what He's doing for our lives, and to continue our faith. There's no perfect church. There's no perfect family. There's no. Well, I can't say perfect spouse. That's wrong. But we butt heads occasionally. That happens, and it's okay as long as you know you have a safe place to come back to, ask forgiveness and do your best to do better in the future. Now, you're not going to go to heaven by just doing good deeds. That's ridiculous. I don't know if whoever told you that. And you're not going to necessarily do good things by following mass media. It's messed up this whole world about what's really going on in the world. Innocent people are going to jail and guilty people are staying free. And we probably had a lot of that throughout throughout the ages, I'm sure. But it seems like it's just getting a little bit worse now than it ever has before. So if you're going to focus on politics, make sure you do your research first. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you stay away from the biases. And we all have our own biases. We all do. Don't say you don't. But listen for the real facts, not someone's opinion. We all got opinions. We all have ideals. We all got ideas. And sometimes it's of our own. Sometimes it's just what someone told us what we're supposed to be thinking. Anyways, think about today and think about what's your next journey? What's the next season for you? And you and I just may not know. As we get older, our focuses change. What interests us changes. The things I used to love to do years ago don't interest me as much. But make sure your values remain steadfast and sure free. I think sure free, but family values. Don't buy into this the crap going out there where you no, right or wrong. You don't have no drag queen reading books to kids. That's ridiculous. If you want to be a drag queen, good luck to you. Just don't do it around my children. I don't apologize for that. Just one aspect of things that bug me. Are you kidding me? And our kids need the timeout. They need timeout, all right? Sometimes we all need a little bit of spanking to get back in the place where we should be to learn, like, yeah, mom and dad love me and they're trying to correct me because I'm being stupid. Or I like to say, being a knucklehead. Anyways, my season from being a wrestler changed. My season from being in the military changed, although I'm still active in many veterans groups. And God willing, I'm going to be the disabled American veteran state commander for California in the next few months. And that's going to be a good time. And I have to focus a lot on that and other things me. Like I go through different seasons where I can read a dozen books in a month and then other times it take me 3, 4 years to open up one book. Yeah, I know that's not good. We need to be consistently reading and feeding our minds with the right stuff, consistently going to church, listening to the word, and consistently working on our relationships. Good, the bad, the ugly, for better or worse, we need to focus and follow through with what we said we're going to do. Life's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying the best that I can. I'm so glad to I had loving parents, loving aunts, uncles, cousins, my brothers, sometimes more or less, but they are very reliable and so grateful for that. So grateful to have a roof over my head, so grateful to wear some fancy clothes, so grateful to raise a couple children, so grateful for experience different cultures around the world. So look for me, Joseph Stephen Skoda III, or in the office with Joseph Skoda, because I still have a lot more to share. Might not be as consistent as I used to be, but hey, it's my season. I'm gonna stick with it. With that being said, you find out what your season, what your journey's supposed to be, and listen. Oh boy, look at that. God Almighty, God Almighty is the only one that really matters. And if you're involved in a relationship and they don't want to put God first, you might want to reconsider what you're doing. With that being said, have yourself a great day, a great month, a great year, and make this the season for you. Bye now. Ooh. If you liked our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on any social media platform Instagram, of course, Facebook. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts and join our team. Anyways, we appreciate you staying tuned week after week, day after day, because we continuously build up our network to bring to you what you're asking for. Have a great day.